Welcome to Goats Gardens and Healthy Tips. It is beginning of February here, first week in February. It is cold out and the chickens are not laying very many eggs. So I am super excited that I saved eggs this year so that we will have eggs all winter. I just thought I would go over my 3 methods of saving eggs of what I did and how we're using those just for some ideas in case anybody's interested in preserving their eggs. The eggs are always so bountiful in the summer, and then when we get to winter, they're not quite so bountiful. So I got 1 egg today, and maybe I got 6 eggs yesterday. It varies every day, but definitely not getting the eggs we get in the summer, and we do use a lot of eggs, so I'm really grateful to have these eggs I saved. Okay, so my 3 ways of saving eggs are: number 1, freezing. Freezing is super easy. You just put your eggs, crack them, put them in a bowl, use a wire whisk, whip them up, and put them in some freezer bags. So I put mine in 2 different sizes. I use these quart bags and I put 4 eggs in those. And the reason I do that is because that's just kind of a common amount to use for scrambling or for, mostly I make muffins on a regular basis, and it's 2 eggs per muffin pan, and I usually make 2 dozen at a time, so I can just use those for my muffins. And then I make 10 bags, or 10 eggs in a bag, and this one I use for egg bake, which I also make that very often, and I use 10 eggs in the egg bake, and I use 10 eggs in a batch of dog food. So that is why I put 10 eggs in there. So you could choose, something that you commonly use your eggs for, to put in whatever size bag that you would want to. It works really well if you put the eggs in the bag and then you lay them on a cookie sheet, flat on a cookie sheet, freeze them so that they freeze nice and flat like this. And then what I do is I stack them in a crate, like a plastic crate, all stacked up like this in my freezer. And that way I can just pull out a bag when I need them. And these little 4 eggers, I'll put them all stacked in a gallon bag and then put that gallon bag in there. So anyways, that's how I freeze my eggs. When you thaw them out, they are kind of a consistency of, kind of a jello-y consistency, really. I just wire whip those up a little bit. That's the 4 eggs, and I'm gonna make some muffins tonight. So I have thawed out 1 bag for that. So anyways, that's such a easy thing to do if you have freezer space, and it saves them really nicely for cooking or scrambling frozen eggs. Okay, the second way is water glassing, and I did that for the first time this winter. I was kind of nervous about it, but actually it's like super easy. So these are water glassed eggs. I just brought them up from downstairs and we just started using them. Like I said, we're in the beginning of February, so between all my preserved eggs I have, I think we will make it just fine until they start laying more eggs in the spring. All right, so the water glassing eggs will keep fresh for approximately 12 to 18 months. And my suggestion is, you can put them in a glass jar, you can put them in a ceramic type pot, you can put them in a food grade plastic bucket. I just tried to use something not too large because in case one would crack and it would spoil in there, I didn't want to ruin like a whole huge bucket full of eggs. So I chose to use this size jars. And this jar has 37 eggs in it, 37 eggs, and I did this on 10, 10, 24. And we just started using these this week, so very easy to do that. You just need some pickling lime, and the pickling lime is really alkaline, so that resists a growth of bacteria and microorganisms in here, and it forms kind of a nice seal around your egg. So it's important before you eat these that you want to wash that lime off, and you probably want to use just make sure you don't get a lot of lime water on your hands because it can be irritating for your hands. And then just wash your eggs off as you normally would wash your eggs off before you use them. Anyway, so like I said, you can use glass, you can use ceramic, you can use a food grade plastic. It's best to use distilled or filtered water, and I used filtered water for mine. You want to choose clean eggs that are not washed. And so these are just 3 little eggs that I have from today and yesterday left, and you want to pick ones that are clean. So like this egg is nice and clean. It doesn't have any doo-doo on it or anything. Grass, doo-doo, feathers. This egg has got a little bit of something on it, so I probably would not use that one. I would just use that one on a regular basis for, wash it and eat it. But you want to choose eggs that are clean, but you don't wash them because you don't want to wash that bloom off. And when you put them in the container, you try to just put them in really carefully and try to not bump the container around or anything, move the container around. If one cracks in there, it can ruin the whole batch. So once you get them all set up and you put them somewhere, like what I did is I put it down in the laundry room on a shelf in a cool, dark place. It's cooler down there. And now we just brought it up and we're using it. So I'm not too worried about it. I just slid it back here on the counter, and actually what I did is I just put a dish towel over it just to, give it a little light shield type of thing, and slide it back on the countertop here. But if you are moving it around, just be really careful because they can crack so easily if you're, jarring the jar around. So that lime is going to create this nice coating on your egg. And for that reason too, it's going to be a nice harder coating, and you might want to crack it before you boil it so it doesn't explode. What I usually do when I do my eggs is I will take my eggs, I'll take this guy that's got the little mark on him, and I take a spoon. I do this when I hard boil all my eggs. I do this, and you just tap it on the larger end. I tap it, and you hear that little snap. And so it's not like you're not seeing big cracks or anything, but it cracks that seal, the membrane seal. And so then when you hard boil them, you can peel them really quite easily like that, no problem at all. So that would be what I would do with these eggs as well. I'm going to put that guy aside, so I put him in the refrigerator right away. Okay. Anyways, so like I said, they are going to store for approximately 12 to 18 months. Fresh eggs, like these guys, you can leave on the counter for approximately 21 days as long as they're not washed. You can put them in the refrigerator not washed, and they can be in the refrigerator for up to 6 months not washed. What I usually do is when I bring my eggs in, I'll put them in here, and when this gets full, which, in the summer that's happening quite often, then I put them in egg containers, and we have an extra refrigerator in the garage, and I'll date on the egg carton the date that I put them in there. I have a piece of paper on there so I can keep reusing the egg cartons. And then I'll put them in the refrigerator, and then I can make sure that I'm using up the eldest eggs first. If I get a big buildup in the summer, that's when I can start, I share with my family, but then I can start preserving eggs as well. So that's kind of the way that I rotate my eggs and use my eggs up and preserve them that way. All right, so they can stay in the refrigerator though up to 6 months if they're not washed. Once you wash them and bring them in the refrigerator, then you want to use them fairly quickly. I have a egg storage deal in my refrigerator, so we'll just grab that. So we go through eggs quite a bit. I eat a lot of eggs. I don't eat meat. I'm a big egg eater. And this stores about 30 eggs. I really like this. So I wash my 30 eggs and put them on here, and then as you're pulling them out the bottom, they'll drop down. You might have to wiggle it a little bit or whatever, but they'll drop down. And it's a nice way to store them, space-saving way to store them in the refrigerator. So that's the way I store my eggs for eating in our refrigerator. Okay, so the items that you need is the pickling lime. You need 1 ounce of pickling lime. So you'll want a little scale, a little kitchen scale to measure that. Just put it in a little plastic baggie and you can measure that. And you need some distilled water or filtered water, 1 liter. So it's 1 liter per 1 ounce. You want the water about room temperature, and then that's going to be for about a dozen unwashed eggs. And obviously, if you're going to do more than that, then you just, double the quart into 2 quarts and double it into 2 ounces, or however much you need for, or however many eggs that you're going to be saving. And suggestion to use some plastic gloves when you're handling the lime, because it can be kind of irritating on your hands. They suggest to put the eggs in pointy side down. Obviously, I probably tried to do that, but as you can see, they've kind of, went where they were going to go in there. It's really hard to put all the eggs pointy side down and have them stay that way in the glass container. I'm not sure what that is about. It's something to do, I believe, with the air pocket in there and such, and it keeps them fresher. But you know what, you just got to do the best you can with that. All right, then when you get your eggs in there, then you're gonna take your lime and your water, and you can use a whisk and whisk it up, and it's gonna still remain grainy, don't worry about it. And then you pour it over your eggs, and you wanna have at least like 2 inches over the top of the eggs to make sure that they're all covered. You can put your cover on, and you can date it, and then you put it in your cool, dark place. So easy to have. So I'm just gonna slide mine back here where I'm keeping them right now. They taste great. No difference than when you're just having fresh eggs, honestly. And then I'm just putting my little dish towel over there, a little protection from the light. Okay, so that is water glassed eggs. And then my last way of preserving eggs is through freeze drying. So obviously you would need a freeze dryer for that, which we just got a freeze dryer about a year ago and been super happy. It was my first fall season of using my freeze dryer, so I really preserved a lot of things with it. But anyways, this quart jar has 16 eggs in it. And there again, you would just take your eggs in a bowl, wire whisk them up, and then what you want to do is put them like maybe in a large measuring cup that has a little spout on it, and then kind of pull the trays partway out on your freeze dryer so you can just pour the liquid in while it's in the freeze dryer, so you're not trying to carry a tray that has a liquid in it and preventing it from dripping or whatever. And then just slide them in. And I did not overfill my trays. And then you just run it on your regular dry cycle. You can check and make sure that they're dry. I believe I probably push the button for extra dry time, which adds another couple extra hours on it. And then it's just like styrofoam when they get done. And then you just break them up and put them in a jar. I used a vacuum seal, little vacuum seal that you just stick on the top, and it sucks the air out, and put an oxygen sealer in there, oxygen absorber in there. Now these can last for, they say, up to 25 years, and if they're sealed properly. I don't think they're gonna last. I don't think we're gonna wait 25 years to use them, but I like to have that because I kind of leave that for last. So I'm using my frozen and the water bath eggs first. And then if we run out, we've got the freeze dried to go after that. So anyways, another good way of preserving them, and these don't have to be in the freezer. They can just be on my shelf with my other freeze dried items there. All right, and then just making sure you date everything just so you know how long it's been there. So that is my 3 ways of preserving my eggs. I am so glad that I did, because we are really starting to use them now, and it is cold, and the chickens are not laying a ton of eggs. I don't blame them. They're just trying to survive out there and stay warm. They're actually quite hardy little girls, but it has been really cold this last month, so I'm just wanting them to preserve themselves and stay healthy. Hope your winter is going well. Spring is around the corner, coming as soon as it possibly can for me. And I am just happy that my chickens can just take a little break right now and not worry about laying eggs and just work on staying warm, staying healthy for the rest of the winter. And I have my supply of my preserved eggs for us. So happy rest of your winter, and let's all look forward to spring. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.